Hello and welcome to the JW Thoughts channel. My name is Wally and you're expecting a memorial video. Well, I'll give you the rundown. I set up the Zoom call as you saw in my trailer to the memorial and was all ready to go. I started it, I did a screen record, the whole thing. I did some commentary during it, and then I watched it back and thought to myself, this is so boring. It just was not interesting at all. The talk pretty much hasn't changed, and if it has, it's been in such an insignificant way that it really doesn't matter talking about it. There's nothing really to add. There wasn't really that much to make fun of. There wasn't anything there. And so one of the things on this channel is I know some of those annual meeting reaction videos weren't the most well put together, but no. After that point, I really tried to just have content that, I would watch and that I would enjoy. And I thought to myself, I can't release this. This is terrible. It's boring.
Getting kind of bored.
It's not interesting. It's stale. And yeah, so I'm just here to say pretty much there will be no memorial video because there's really just nothing that terribly interesting to talk about. And sure, I could argue about, how the Jehovah's Witnesses go about the procedures of the memorial and how that differs from what's in the Bible and, all of those different things. But I don't think anyone really cares all that much, at least that I know. And if I'm wrong, hey, just let me know and I'll whip up something together. As far as my own experience historically with the memorial goes, I can at least tell a couple stories real briefly. I know when we started doing the big campaigns to get the invitations in everyone's hand, first off, that was always a nightmare for the territory servant, which I think I talked about in my preaching method tier list, but that is one of the worst gigs you can have, especially when it comes to the special campaigns where they did the Kingdom News this and the memorial and the convention. So it started being about 3 times a year. So one of the first nightmares you deal with is when you hand out all the territory cards, you inevitably will miss 5. And so you're just always reprinting and having to find. So I just started keeping a bigger database with all of the do not call lists and all. I'm pretty sure that's, anyway, it doesn't matter. So I started doing all that. So that was one thing that was really annoying, was just being the territory servant. People were constantly calling you, hey, we need a new territory. Hey, we need a new territory. And it was just there was way too many hours per week doing that job during the memorial campaign. One nice thing, though, whenever they did the memorial campaigns, is it is the easiest part of the ministry. And maybe I should have actually included that in the tier list, because memorial campaigns probably deserved an S tier, because you literally walk up.
Hello, I'm here to invite you to a special event that will be attended by millions of people. It's the anniversary of Jesus' death. This invitation shows the time and location of the event in our area. We also invite you to a special talk the weekend before.
Thanks. Knock on the door. If someone answers, hi, we're just, part of the local congregation of Jehovah's Witnesses, and we wanted to invite you to a very special event. It's going to be on Friday, March 27th. Here you go. All the information's on the back. And if they ask a question, you answer it, boom, you dip. But it was just speed running everything. And everyone was usually pleasantly surprised. Oh, they're not going to ask me a bunch of questions and trying to draw me into a conversation with the Bible. No, just boom, here you go. See you later. Peace out. So that was always pretty good. And then when you were actually at the memorial, it was really funny because I don't know if it was just this one congregation or if more congregations did it. But basically all of the elders and ministerial servants would get together beforehand and have a little meeting where they're talking about a game plan for all of the interested ones that would be, showing up.
Hello? You play to win the game.
And they never did. But, they're oh, okay, well, you guys got to make sure you're on the lookout and, you don't get distracted talking to people and, just make sure that they're comfortable. They know where they're at. And it was all of this hype built up and no one, I can't remember a single person ever showing up just with an invitation in their hand. I think one time at a convention, someone walked through the doors and was hey, I got this invitation to this convention. I wanted to check it out. And that was the only time that I ever remember that happening. But at a memorial, I honestly can't remember once. And then there's always the funny part of, they used to call it the come witness, COME.
I get it.
That would stand for the circuit overseer visit, the memorial, and every once in a while. So anytime the memorial rolls in, you get to see people that you didn't even know were part of your congregation or in your territory. They just kind of all come out of the woodwork just to go to this one meeting per year. One time my grandpa, he forgot about the memorial because their story's kind of, anyway, it's kind of wild. But he forgot about it, and he was on an airplane during it. And so or maybe he didn't forget necessarily, but he had plans that he couldn't change. Anyway, so he had his own little memorial service for himself. Like, he read the scriptures and, got some bread and wine. I remember him telling me about it, and he was absolutely mortified that, he had missed the memorial and that he had to do this, pseudo memorial service to himself. Sorry, it's allergy season here in Seattle, and my eyes are absolutely killing me. So sorry I'm rubbing my eyes so much.
My eyes! My eyes!
But yeah, other than that, nothing really too eventful ever happens at the memorial. It's always funny to look around and see, okay, who's going to be a partaker? Is there going to be anyone new? I remember there was some people that I knew that were my age that started partaking, and everyone pretty much just like made fun of them behind their back. Pretty much anyone that was like under the age of, I would say, like 60, people were just like, wait, are you you're an anointed one? And then they would see some of the newer members of the governing body and like, see, people, you don't have to be like in your 80s or 90s to be anointed. And one last thing is when it comes to the generation teaching. And this was when I was still, an active witness. I set out to try and figure out why the number of the memorial partakers was going up, and it directly correlates to the generation teaching. So whenever they change the generation teaching, the number starts going up every single time. So I wrote out this whole long thesis for my sort of conspiracy, and I was like trying to show it to people and be like, look, this is why, because once they change the generation teaching, then people will magically think that it's, since anyone can be part of the 144,000, maybe I am too. And everyone always like shot me down like, oh, you're wasting your time with that. I mean, does it really matter? I'm like, yeah, it kind of does matter because the generation teaching is quintessential to Jehovah's Witness belief. And, whether or not someone is part of the 144,000 is generally considered to be a big deal. Like if you are one, people always hold them in ultra high regard and all of this good stuff. But yeah, nothing really to say about the memorial itself. There's a couple quick little stories. And that's about it. Thank you so much for watching. And we will see you for the April JW Thoughts broadcast.